All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Off Axis podcast. I'm here with Dominic Barge and Sam Softich, two acrobats, both performing for Cirque Du Soleil very recently, as of until COVID happened, and then suddenly are probably looking for a new career path or something, I guess. So what shows were you guys in again? You were in OVO?
Yeah, I was with OVO and then previously with Reflect with the special event company with Cirque Du Soleil.
Okay, and then you were in Beatles Love, right?
Yeah, and I did the creation and duration of Paramore in New York City.
Oh, sick. I saw that show had a Trampall act in it, right?
Yeah, we had the rooftops trampoline act at the end of the
Ooh,
show. Same setup from Iris.
That was crazy. We just watched that recently when Cirque reshared the Trampall act. Dude, that was crazy. There's high bars and all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
Oh, it's a fantastic act. But they had about 5 feet of room on each side of that setup that we didn't have at Paramore. Because Paramore was so small that we cut 5 feet of the stage off on each side and then shortened it. And then we basically cut it into I think 6 or 7 parts. And at the end of the show, each part would break apart and then go to the back of the theater. When it was in Iris, it came up as one whole setup. I think the setup weighed something like 18 tons.
Did it make it any more dangerous for you by them shortening it, do you think, versus the original Iris setup? Or
I mean, not more dangerous. We changed tricks, right? From going from Iris into Paramore, we had less acrobats on the setup. I think I liked Iris more because it was more of a spectacle, and they had props like guns and stuff like that. We had less acrobats on our setup, but we did some bigger tricks. But it made some tricks more difficult, like jumping all the way across. You don't have all that room to run out, or even coming backwards. We have 5 feet less run of distance.
Yeah, so this is it right here, right on the TV.
Yes, sir.
So it's kind of hard to see, but there's a trampoline.
is that the Iris one or
there's
Paramore?
two trampolines, right?
Yep, and that's, I think, me right there. Oh, no, is this Iris or New York?
Is this Iris or is that Paramore?
I can't tell.
I mean, it's the exact same set, so it's pretty hard to tell. Right off the top.
I don't know.
I'm
This
looking
might
at
be Iris or
faces.
something. But I searched Paramore trampoline set. But yeah, there's so much crazy stuff you can do on that stage. Like
By
the
far
high
one of
bar
the
to
gnarliest
trampoline.
trampoline setups, though.
The high bar to the trampoline, that was 20 feet, wasn't it?
I mean, Sam did that.
17.
So yeah.
17
Jesus.
feet from the bar to the tramp.
When you're landing on a trampoline from 17 feet, you got to be so spot on.
And
Well,
a triple kaboom, was the trick.
The finale trick.
Yeah.
Not even that, but the side of the stage off the high bar to the so if you're looking at the tramp from the high bar to the right is an 8-foot drop to stage, and then you go to the lower tramp and it's about 2 feet lower, so 6 feet to stage. So
Jesus.
we had a couple times. Basically, we assembled the whole setup when we were at Paramore in New York, and then it rolls out as one piece. So when it rolls out, you still have about 20 feet from the side of the trampolines to the front of the stage, but it's still very dangerous to fall down there, which I've done twice.
Yeah.
I've seen the video. It happened.
Dude, that's crazy.
It was a great setup, though. A lot of metal, but extremely a lot of metal parts to hit. Anyways, is what I'm talking about. But it was a cool setup to perform on because it's the only setup like itself in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the most dangerous part about trampoline is there's a 4-foot drop at least off the trampoline if you ever fall off.
Depending on the setup too, because even OVO, our tramps aren't at a standard height. They're jacked up to about 6 feet above the ground to start with, and then you add the 17 feet of wall above it plus the gap. So every set has its own challenge for sure, especially with Cirque. How dangerous can we make this? All right, yeah, that sounds good. All right, let's go with
It's
that.
also true to say that in-ground trampolines make you afraid of nothing.
Dude,
And mats.
seriously.
Everyone can be brave with mats.
Yeah. The surrounding around this trampoline is so crucial because when I got here and it was just dirt and rocks everywhere,
I'm going to die.
it's just so much scarier because
absolutely.
it's just the visualization. If there's grass, it's better. I don't know. In my head,
It's a little bit softer than rocks.
Yeah, for
I'm not
sure.
a scientist.
Well, I mean, you saw Elijah's video where he does that walking double back to doggy and then side flips out. But
Side
he's
flips
on
off.
an in-ground tramp
Oh
to
my
grass.
God,
if
that
that's
was
on rocks
insane.
or an above ground tramp, he's in a world of hurt. So
Yeah,
the setup
for
definitely makes
sure.
a difference for safety every time.
Oh my God, yeah, definitely. The first Nickelodeon show that we did for Off Axis, I hired Starkey, who.
I heard about this
so
story.
this is a good one.
Okay, well, so the trampoline wall was, I think it was 20 feet or something like that, and I told them, hey, we need it 14 to 16 from the ground, so that way it's like a 10 or 12-foot wall. And they give us a 20-foot wall, and they're like, oh, the sticker we got was just so big, we had to make the wall bigger. I'm like, well, we can't really just do stuff on a 16-foot wall, Like we could, but the patterns that they wanted and stuff.
But you need to jack up the tramp, and
so
you need the right training
instead
for
of
that,
dropping the wall down, they were like, well, the only thing we can do is raise the tramp up. So we raised the tramp 6 feet from the ground. So now there's a 10-foot drop, which is like the most terrifying thing ever.
I don't know. I've done the same thing for
don't fall off.
Yeah, for Halloween Haunt with Oval, that's exactly what they do for Cedar Point. It was like
it's so high off the ground.
Yeah, it was like from the ground, from the top of the tramp, it was like 12 feet. But they had 2 tramps on the other side. But either way, falling off that front side to the floor is just, that's a no-go.
Yeah, so we were in rehearsal for the act, and they were juggling. And Starkey, I think, connected with the girl that they were juggling with. It was Mike, Katie, and other Mike, actually. And she hit his elbow or something like that, which screwed up the juggling, so they didn't go far enough on the next one. Anyways, Mike lands wrong, does a pullover off of the trampoline all the way down like 10 feet, and somehow magically lands on his feet, but like rolls and like kind of hits his head. Dude, it's pretty terrifying.
Well, I mean, if that's the worst that happened, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, we only did one show on it.
Oh, it was in the show.
it was rehearsal.
Oh, rehearsal. Okay.
But everyone was there, so it didn't look good at all.
Yeah, 10 foot is 10 foot. It's no joke falling from that off a trampoline.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't even matter if there's mats at that height. If you're landing in a bad position, that's still quite a distance.
No, I told them multiple times. I'm like, if you're gonna jack up the trampoline, we need mats down there or something. And they're like, yeah, we'll get the mats. And of course,
they're TV people. They're not
exactly. TV people never got the mats.
You know what?
Until that happened.
Speaking of TV people, the first time I did a TV thing was with CL. She's a South Korean pop star, and I flew from Rochester, New York, to Brooklyn one day to do a music video shoot, and they found a 22-foot wall in Brooklyn somewhere.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, cool, put up a trampoline next to it and you can jump off the top. And I was like, that's not gonna happen. And
yeah,
like that's way too high.
I got so lucky working with TV people my first time, because they brought like staging to bump the tramp up 6 feet. They set it up professionally within 45 minutes, and then I don't even know where they got them. They got like 8-inch mats to put all the way around.
Oh,
so they
nice.
took this trampoline, they blocked it up 6 feet against this wall, which made it about a 12-foot brick wall from the top of the tramp to the top of the wall. And then on the back of the wall, you had about 2 to 3 feet that dropped down to the top of the building. But it was so cool for the first time in my life to say, yes, I need this as an acrobat to make it safe. And they like snapped their fingers and they got it done.
Damn.
45 minutes later, they blocked up the tramp 6 feet, had it all taken care of, mats and everything. And I had absolutely zero excuses left not to do any acrobatics on this wall. So I did.
Because normally it's like exactly the opposite. That's like, well, I need it like this. Like, well, how about no? Well, you don't remember turkey, so
yeah.
Turkey's a good one.
Yeah, we've had some special experiences when it comes to terrible circumstances, especially abroad, because they don't necessarily understand what you're doing. And like we've showed up to a couple of gigs, or no, like they gave us like a black bed Walmart trampoline for this gig we did in Turkey, and it was our first time each doing solo acts before the Trampall act. So the Trampall act was the main part of the show. So I was doing a solo juggling act. Sam was doing solo steer for the first time, and then Maheen Kress was doing hula hoops also for the first time live.
We were supposed to do a 30-minute show with the three of us, and Dom and I had worked together, but not me. Dom, are you? You hadn't worked with Marine yet, have you?
Neither had you at that point. No.
I hadn't even met her. So we got of us. We got to plan together to meet up and create a 25-minute to 30-minute show, and then we show up, and our trampoline is so bad that they had a legit 16-foot wall on the outside, so 12 feet from the top of the bed, and we had to cut that in half to be able to do anything. This bed was so bad, if you jump from the top of a 6-foot wall, you could barely make it back up.
I mean, the springs were about as big as a cigar, because like the first day we get there, like, oh, we need you guys to come check out the trampoline, and we arrive, we're like, why do we need to check out a trampoline? It should be what our boss had specified.
Yeah.
And we get there and it's literally like a terrible black bed, but it's still a rectangle, thank goodness. It wasn't like a round one, but yeah, the springs were super tiny, and like I tried to jump on it, it's like I had to jump my hardest to do a branny out tuck.
Damn.
That was like the finale trick.
Yeah.
Like, minus stomachs, because like we had nothing else we could do.
Yeah. So you think of it, usually with a 16-foot wall and windows and stuff, we can boost our act from 6 minutes to 15 minutes and do a bunch of stuff on the bed. But with that Trampall segment gone, we had to increase our segments for all our most of our first times doing solos and stuff outside of Trampall.
But thankfully, like we had some experience before, because that's the only thing that saved that show. It's because I was like, what else can we do? Okay, let's buy a volleyball. and then you can pass me the volleyball while we do some flips and just
most stressful 2 days of my life. We
Yeah.
had to meet up and create a 30-minute act within 2 days of realizing that we couldn't do as much Trampall as we wanted to. So we drastically had to change everything last moment and cut a wall in half, which if you've ever done
30 minutes?
Yeah. Well, we did. We clocked out at 26, 27 minutes for this show, but we were planning on 30 in the beginning. I think we did like a total of 4 to 8 shows over the weekend or something. We did quite a bit.
It was like close to 8 to 10, I think. Yeah, it was a decent amount, but for
Dude, that's crazy.
doing a few shows a day and like with no creation time, with little equipment, no production help, it was like, well, you're in it now. So when we made it work, they were happy. So.
You'll get that sometimes in this industry when, say, this company puts on a lot of entertainment gigs, but they don't do any sort of acrobatics or anything like that. So they were really sweet as a company, and they took care of us while they were there, but they had tried to save money by building their own trampoline rather than have one shipped from Germany, which is with our company.
Ooh.
So they built their own frame and then ordered a black bed from a low-level company to put on there. So it was a legit like size of a frame, but when you build it with no pad risers and heavy pads and a bad bed and springs, we cut the springs, we cut the pads, we couldn't find any pad lifters. We did everything we could to make it more bouncy, but there was only so much you can do when you fly 16 hours from Las Vegas to get to somewhere in Turkey, and you have to put on a show, and then you're flying home. And we had 6 days total there.
Yeah, I guess that was it.
Yep.
In and out.
In and out in 6 days.
That's how the carpet work used to be.
Yeah, dude, that stuff's crazy. So now that, like, okay, wait, first of all, let's back up to what happened when Cirque closed? Like, did you guys get notification?
My
Notification?
My notification was gnarly.
I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, because we were on tour. We were supposed to be doing up to an 18-week long leg in the U.S. And we'd only been in the U.S. before that for like 6 weeks. Then we had a 2-week break. And so, yeah, we're on week 4 of that tour. And we're in El Paso, Texas. And I was actually out sick the whole week before that.
Yeah.
With the normal flu. So I was freaking out thinking, oh, man, did I catch that? But I got tested. And they said, no, you're good. Just a normal flu. So I was out that whole week before.
Yeah.
And then so we come into work and go into training. And then my captain was like, hey, Dom, I need you to do the solo tonight. I was like, bro, I didn't even bounce last week. But okay, like, you do what you're told. So I was getting ready, killed the training. And then we had a 3-hour break. So me and a couple of the other Russian guys were like, no, let's go home. Like, all right, so we went back to the hotel, caught the Uber. Then as soon as we get back, we get an email, like, emergency meeting. And we're all just initially pissed, like, man, we just got home. This can't be that important. We weren't even thinking about the COVID factor. We had heard that, like, Corteo and Totem had just got kicked out of the Euro Tour. And my buddy Misha was also like, man, I think this is it. I was like, you're tripping. You're just being paranoid. And then we get back, and they have a big tapis bleu, which is, like, the company meeting. We're in the front of the arena. Like, all right, guys, so welcome to El Paso. So this is the first show in El Paso and the last.
Really? They only had one?
Yeah, I did the premiere, and then we closed the next day.
Oh,
because they already built the stage. They already sold the tickets. So, like, all the fans were coming in that night. But for the rest of the shows that week, they already canceled them. So, yeah, I came in that night. We did the show. It was such a weird feeling after not jumping for a whole week or not doing shows to, like, okay, you're going to do a show tonight and do the wall solo. But that's it after that. And then also in that meeting, they're like, all right, so we're going to give you 2 days to figure out, or essentially 1 day to figure out where you're going to go. Because we give you tomorrow to think, but then we're buying your tickets on Saturday. And at the time, I've been on tour for 10 years doing circus. So for me, just to be like, well, I don't have a house or a car because I've been living on the road.
Yeah.
I'm with my girlfriend from France. So, yeah, it was a whole whirlwind. So I tried to come out here, and it just did not work out because the day I got here, got my car, and then they closed everything here. So
the next
day. I was like, I got my car, and I was like, cool, I'm in Vegas. I'm finally set. They closed all the gyms. All the shows closed. I was stuck in the desert with my girlfriend from France who can't work, and that was it. And then luckily I had friends here like you guys to help me out, but it was a pretty stressful time when you've been on tour for 10 years. It's been like, that's it. There's no warning. There's no heads up. That is
you
what
go
it is.
from
So,
yeah,
we were expected to be working, for like 4 months on a tour, and then to nothing.
Nothing.
And ironically enough, the next places we were supposed to go after the U.S. was China,
dude,
and then Saudi Arabia. So we're like, but China's performing right now. So,
they are?
Yeah, the Land of Fantasy show is up and running, but only with Chinese acrobats.
Oh, crazy. Dude, that's, going from, like, your whole life is like, oh, I'm going to be on tour for this long. It's all set. And the next thing you know, you're like, You need a different career,
and
actually.
you're just so complacent because you're not worried about your home life because that is your life.
Yeah.
And then I'm calling him, freaking out, like, oh, man, we just got canned. Like, we got kicked off tour. I was like, you guys are probably next. Sam didn't believe me. He was like, man, you're tripping. Like, we're fine. We're going down to one show a day for a month. It's going to be fine. And then
we closed, too.
I was like, this is the worst. I told you so, but fuck.
It happened so fast. I mean, especially throughout Cirque. We got word, I think it was because we did a full work week before we went out. And I think it was the end of the week before we had a big meeting. We were talking about COVID. And, sorry, I'm going to call on my phone. Anyways, we're talking about COVID and how they were actually proposing it to us in the beginning that it wasn't that serious. That, it's like a common flu. We're going to protect ourselves. It's really bad in other countries right now, but it hasn't reached here. Within 5 days of that announcement, we went down to the one show a day for a month, and we were already freaking out with that. And then 2 days later, before first show on Saturday, is when they told us that we were let go.
But they were doing the same thing with us, too. They were downplaying it pretty heavy, I feel like, at first. So, like, well, it's happening in China, but we don't really know. They're playing that corporate game. Like, don't freak out. We're going to figure it out. And then they really weren't. It didn't feel like they were taking it serious, but I knew corporate was. But they're always trying to, like, not have you freak out. But then all of a sudden, everything was just gone, vanished.
Yeah.
Especially with this week, or last week, that was a whole different side of the Cirque story. But
yeah. What week was this? Or do you know the date?
It was January, or no, sorry. It was June 29th.
June 29th?
When they made the announcement, yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
Pretty sure. Because, we all the touring performers and crew got the email. An announcement by Daniel Lamar. It was just like, and so, by the way, tomorrow your health insurance is gone, and you are no longer a Cirque employee, and they even took away our email address. It was literally in 4 days after the health insurance went away. So, like, we have no more connection to Cirque directly at all. So, it was just, it was all very fast.
Yep. Over 3,000 employees.
So, we're all trying to download all our important emails and stuff. We're like, man, we can't even get access to our pay slips if we don't download them right now. So,
yeah.
It was very heavy information, all so quick, based off the bankruptcy protection plan. So yeah.
That's so crazy to me that a big company like that just did not have their shit together before like this all happened. Like they must have been like living dollar to dollar kind of, like they had this big huge debt that they needed to pay down.
Yeah,
and
but I just feel like they should have given a little more consideration to those
sure.
employees that if they knew they were gonna fire them, that was the plan.
Yeah.
To at least give us like a heads up, like saying this may or may not happen, so you should probably look for health insurance. Because as you know, as an American and being an acrobatic or stunt performer or extreme athlete, like that's a big deal. If you're European or from most other countries that have socialized healthcare, it's not that big of an issue. But for us, it's a huge deal. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest letdown for us. Not just that you're fired. That's fine. We're already furloughed.
It's fired and all your benefits are gone.
And their other plan that they offered was like not a good option. So
yeah. What if you had retirement and stuff through them? Like
no, you have to move it to another bank.
We just started a 401k, I think in this last year. So I don't know how much money I've put into that. So probably nothing because it's only been around a year. But Cirque du Soleil just started that for employees. I think the only people who had that option before was the people down in Lanuba who had a 401k, but no other employees up until this last year or so had that.
I'm not exactly sure, but I think from what I read is like because it was like through a Canadian bank that you had to like try to transfer it to an American account. Yeah. So I'm not sure how that works when you're not inputting anything, but I never had a 401k with them. I wasn't there long enough for that. I don't even know what's available for touring shows yet.
Well, when you're talking about all this debt and stuff and not putting money back into it, I think that all ties into TPG, the company, the Chinese company, I believe it's a private equity firm that bought 90% of the shares of Cirque du Soleil in 2015 when Guy still had like a little bit of a hold of it. Yeah. Apparently from what people have told me is that TPG is basically just produced revenue with Cirque and acquired assets and other shows and taken all of this for profit rather than trying to pay down any of the debt. So I think a lot of it of like Cirque's prediction now financially has to do with TPG in the last 5 years and all these new shows that they put out, and the only way the company could stay afloat was revenue, and they never thought that was going to be cut off at 100% like it's been now. I mean, once the company seems so small once all revenue was cut off because they're so in debt. So when this started happening, we had employees who talking about, Cirque has told us for years that they're making all this money why can't we get supported as artists? And all this money wasn't going back into paying off the debt and things that Cirque had, because nobody could have saw this coming as it came here in 2020 for like all shows to shut down and for no revenue to be coming in.
But then also you see what happened with Run. So I mean, they lost up to $60 million.
$60 million spent on that show, and it lasted 4.5 months.
And that was right before COVID hit. So they already just closed Amaluna. They already weren't looking hot before this happened. Yeah. So when this happened, like obviously no one in the entertainment industry expected that. But I mean, I'm sure they hit you hard too as a
for sure,
small time.
I was supposed to be on tour for like 8 months straight, like April
what were you supposed
through
to be doing?
December. So we had I had about six to eight corporate gigs basically every weekend for like 2 months, which are fucking
that's the
huge.
big money. That's the
big money, dude. Full shows, ramps, teeterboard, Trampall, parkour, everything. The full show. I had 8 of them booked because I spent like 3 months doing cold calls, and then within a matter of 48 hours. They're all gone. And we had Six Flags booked this summer. We had I don't know, everything after that is still like maybe. So, but everything until the summer, at least September, October is done.
Which is a huge time for acrobats. If anybody listening to this doesn't know, as far as being a freelance, let's say house troupe acrobat or someone who does trampolines or flipping or any of that, summer is the big money maker for us. It's when all the theme parks are opening and all these outdoor, indoor shows where you can really jump in for 3 to 4 months of solid work with the upcoming Christmas season and all of that is a big time of year for us. Yeah. So for all this to hit and to really not understand when it's all going to clear up or change, it's a bad situation for being a freelance artist right now, or anyone, because all shows are shut down, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, especially about what you're saying about the time of year for that. Yeah, because like especially when you're an up-and-coming acrobat or doing dive shows, whatever, it's always the summer season. Then you can go back to school, do your normal job when fall and winter hits, because it's always slower anyway. Mm-hmm. But without that to fall back on, it's normally like that guaranteed work. Now it feels like nothing is guaranteed. Even for the Cirque du Soleil performers like ourselves, it's like we would take no shame in doing a smaller job anymore, because obviously Cirque's in financial debt, and just whenever we're allowed to perform again at step stage, our ego will not take the hit. We're willing to go do that. So I think a lot of people really need to get in that mind frame of like, Cirque might not be back for a while. So, but just to be on stage, I mean, we don't do that for any company. We do it because we love it. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm at the longest point of not performing since I started. I had a few months between gigs, like big gigs, where I'd go there for a few months, and then I'd have some smaller gigs in between. But this is the first time in my life. Luckily, I haven't had too many big injuries in my life to take me out for that long. But yeah, it's been a little over 4 months now without being on a stage or any sort of performing, and it's kind of starting to hit me a little bit. Like gyms are open back up now, and we're getting back into training, which we can talk about here in a minute. But just the fact of not being on stage or experiencing that rush or that sort of living in the moment, which is why a lot of us do this, like what Dom was talking about. It's not just about, staying in shape or, learning a new acrobatic trick or some of those things. It's being on stage and getting entertained people is why we do what we do. So
it's adrenaline rush for sure.
Oh, and it's like a lot of people don't realize, people who work desk jobs or, any kind of job where it kind of goes 9 to 5 and it's mundane and you may see it as a dead-end job or something that you don't appreciate. You don't have those kind of moments throughout the day where you're sort of just living in the moment, so to speak. And we get that as performers. You can see that as musicians or stunt people or anybody who, gets on stage and gets to live in that moment for a second where nothing in the world and anything else in the world matters except for what you're doing at that point. So
especially in these high risk setups too, because some of them you have to be focused only in that moment. You can't be thinking about your problems outside of that, because when you're on these setups that are this high, that dangerous, like that's the only thing you can focus on is surviving and worrying about your team and not making that crucial error that affects someone else. So.
Oh yeah, and it's not just that; it's the day to day, right? This is our job to live in the moment every day and to perform on stage at 100%.
Dude, so you got to be in that, like, because then you take that away, and then even when Cirque comes back, you're going to throw all these people that haven't had that mindset in that long. Like, those first few weeks of shows are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally a crazy mindset, too, because, like, especially during training, you might, like, think twice about something, or you're just not fully all there. But, like, I feel like in a show, you have, like, superpowers. You can, like, do everything a
That
little
adrenaline,
bit,
baby,
like 10% better.
Yeah,
like I would
sure.
not throw tricks in practice because I'm like, oh, if I do it in the show, I'll land it. But if I do it
Show
in practice,
tricks.
Show tricks. We
Yeah.
all have show tricks.
Show tricks that
those
you only
certain
do in the
tricks that
show.
you only do in show. Yeah, we definitely have that on catwall. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
We're like, are you gonna train it? Oh no, absolutely not. But in the show, we'll nail it every time. So.
Yep.
And for people who don't like understand our reference of like show tricks, it's like a big trick that we're gonna do in a show that we have to be as confident as possible that it's gonna work every night safely, and it's not gonna mess with us. If you start taking that trick and trying to train it too much and it goes differently in show, sometimes you don't have a second chance to train it before the next upcoming show. So having those show tricks are those tricks that you can depend on that are always gonna work all the time, and that you're too afraid to mess with or change or to go back or learn the basics of because you just want those to work every night. And that really comes with like when you've been working in this industry a long time and this is your career and your income, you don't want to lose those tricks or to get hurt on something. So
Honestly, sometimes those are just tricks you're scared of. And
Yeah,
like you're
for
like,
sure.
I'll do it in the show. I know it's gonna
All
work
the time.
But if you ask me to do it
Agreed,
with
agreed.
different lights on and different circumstance,
Nope.
No, I don't want
without that music,
Yeah, without the music, because you have that mental cue, that muscle
Yeah.
memory, and everything. But yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah, for sure. Like when I ride a scooter, I don't do anything except for straight jumps and 360s until the show starts. I'm like,
Then you start throwing backflips and all that.
yeah, exactly.
The
I
cool
won't
stuff.
do flips over the box unless it's in a show. Maybe sometimes, but really no. Just it's too dangerous, and you're just so much more in the moment when you're actually like performing.
So even with all wheels, that's how you always treated that. You're just like, nope, I'll wait till the show and then
Exactly.
hit that, yeah.
All wheels, I never. I think I've maybe flipped the box a handful of times outside of show, and like flares and stuff. It's just too dangerous.
Yeah, that was a cool experience for me though, doing all wheels. It was the first time being around scooter riders or BMX and rollerblade people combined with circuit. So finally got to get a peek into that world with you guys. So
Yeah, it's
definitely interesting. Shout out to Jill Schultz. Thanks. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you, Jill. She's probably not listening though.
Definitely not.
But yeah, like, do you guys think? When do you think we'll be able to perform again? Are you guys even thinking about performing anymore, or just looking for different careers and shit?
For me-
We're coming back. Like that. This is not it for me.
There's gonna be a way.
I'm not gonna hang it up on that Cirque or no Cirque. Like we're gonna do another show somewhere. If I don't step foot on the Cirque stage again, I've come to terms with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not done jumping yet. I still love this. But I mean, of course, other career things. We're all thinking about that right now. I think the whole industry is, because it's so uncertain right now. But
Yeah.
I don't know, what are you thinking too?
You're kind of forced to think about what you would do with acrobatics, and everybody's kind of on that same page of like, if things ended one day like they do now, what else could I do? But for me anyways, I think there's two ways to look at this. You can nitpick and look at the news every day and try to plan on a time when you're going to be back. Or for me, the way I see it is we have some freedom right now that we didn't have before. Everybody's contract is essentially, null and void now.
Yep.
So for me, it's really getting back to the basics of why I train and what I do in acrobatics, and relearning some things and having time to develop new skills and to learn new acrobatics and to work on new things because I have nothing else to do now.
Yeah.
And I can't say I have like an estimate of when shows are going to be back, but all I can do for myself is just be ready for when they come back.
Absolutely.
There's no way to get any other kind of stage time right now or to be another show. So all we can do is to keep ourselves in shape and then just kind of keep planning for when they're going to come back. But like, Dom was saying, we're all kind of thinking about, what can we do for a living if there's no shows? And we all think about that as a performer because you have, a certain amount of time you can perform in this industry before it eventually destroys your body.
Yeah.
But none of us have been forced to think about that on the spot.
Yep.
Like
sure.
this is now.
But I mean,
So-
definitely after like we got kicked off tour, after I finally went back home to Colorado, I got that real life reality check. I was installing hardwood floors, doing construction with the guy that actually got me into the industry. So if that doesn't make it come full circle
Yep.
for you, and like a nice like quick fall from grace. It's like, well, I went from doing the solo on a Cirque Du Soleil stage, and now I'm installing hardwood floors in rich people's houses
Yeah, dude.
during the quarantine, and you're not working out. There's all the gyms are closed.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a good reality check. Like, this is what life is without my job, and makes you appreciate it even more too.
Yeah.
So it's like, at the same time, like, I'm just very grateful we got to do that in the first place. So I mean, I'm willing to be patient for this to come back. I hope it's sooner and later, of course, like everyone else. So
Yeah, for sure.
Silver lining though is that we're all in the same predicament.
absolutely,
Everyone is.
everyone
not-
at Circus Center is like,
Everyone's
It's not
screwed.
like, what have you been up to? It's just like, how are you?
I mean,
We're all doing the same thing, training and hoping we come back to work.
Nobody's doing other shows right now, or at least not that many people that you feel like you're on standby or you're losing this time versus other people that you work with professionally. No, we're all on the same level for this.
Yep,
so
that's the good thing.
I think a lot of people are going to do things to get by, but I think the true artists aren't going to give up. Like for me, myself, I want to keep performing for the next 10 years. This has been, my career, my life for the last 8 years, and I want to build on top of that to the point where I can make enough money doing what I love to kind of put my, savings and passion into something else, or to own something, or to continue with circus, coach or develop or produce or things like that. But a lot of people right now are just going to look for ways to make ends meet. I mean, if you really love this industry, you want to stay in it, you'll find something to do. Like Dom was saying, hardwood floors for 6 weeks is a long fall from grace, but it's a necessary step to get back to where we were before.
I mean, we all got side passions too. Like I got my drone thing going on, and like there's other things that are always been your hobbies, but now you're like more seriously pursuing those things that could possibly make you money.
Yeah, I got into
and it gives you that time to think about it, right? Or like some Forex, some Bitcoin, whatever. Yeah. I mean, by any means necessary at this moment, but
I think the best way to keep our sanity right now is just to find something productive to do with our mind. With, at the same time, you got to relax a little bit and have a day off here or there, but we really got to find something to move forward with, because we have a lot of time right now.
Yep.
More time than I've ever had in my life to do whatever I want.
I've never had this much free time ever, except for last year when I got injured. So
I
was and I thought that was going to be my longest break from acrobatics. I was incorrect.
Wait, so were you able to get unemployment?
When I was injured?
No.
Or now. Recently? No.
So why is that?
It's because like how short of a period of time that OVA was actually working in the U.S. We're only actually working in the U.S. for 6 weeks of 2019. And they're not willing to accept any of our 2020 claims yet until those taxes have gone through.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I guess there's a couple people that have managed to do it, like in California and a couple like that. But as far as my show goes, no American has got the unemployment yet. But we're all teaming up and trying to figure out a way how to get that. But at the same time, like, if I didn't have money saved, I would be in a world of hurt.
Yep.
So, thank goodness I prepared that way. But I know there's a lot of people, other performers on other Cirque tours that had no savings, regardless of how long they've been on tour or whatever. So then they're forced into like a regular like restaurant job or whatever just to make ends meet. And that's pretty sad. When, like some people have been touring for 10 years, they manage not to deal with their money very well, but that's their harsh reality when you can't expect that steady paycheck. So, but yeah, no, we're still figuring it out. I think it's still early, so hopefully we can get that handled, especially if they extend the COVID relief. So
I feel like this year is just going to be a wash on a calendar, and we're going to start 2020 over again next year.
No, it's like that. So. It's like that meme. It talks about the time traveler, and it's like, whatever you do not set it to 2020. Oh, you mean 2020? Isn't it the first year of quarantine? Like, wait, what do you mean the first year? Oh no. Let's hope that's not the case.
Dude, I know, right? How long are we gonna be wearing masks for? Come on now. Like, I get it,
that's
but
a whole
like,
nother topic.
It's got to go through. Like,
just wear your mask, people. Wear it. Just please. We want to get back to work. Wear your mask.
I know, right?
And don't be like that one lady and cut a hole in it.
Yeah. Or wearing underwear on your face, or none of that.
Dude, yeah, it's crazy, and it's crazy because the hospitals are actually full of COVID patients too. So it's like, all right, it's real.
What's the status here in Nevada right now?
Well,
I'm not really too up to date.
Well, we got over 20,000 cases now. Our deaths per day are going down, but our number of cases have jumped from like over 1,000 a day. We started our patient zero was like March 8th, I think. I read an article that was like, oh, we have one patient of COVID, and now we have over 20,000. Now, Clark County accounts for 75% of the state's population. That's just one county, I think, at like 2.2 million people. But a lot of those people are around the Las Vegas area, too. So
yeah, because I haven't been there that long. So I know the Colorado statistics, but that doesn't really help us here. So.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, my friend Freddie works in a hospital here, and like I think it was like a month ago or so. He told me like the hospital was totally empty and like they were barely working. And then like a few weeks later, he was like, the hospital's full. Like we can't take any more patients basically.
And that's a scary thing too now to think about. Like if I get injured and I need to go to a hospital for something, how much room are they going to have?
At least you still got health insurance.
Too.
Like for us, like we just lost our health insurance. So now if I get COVID, I'm going to have to file bankruptcy. Because I'm going to be, if I have to spend like 4 weeks in there, I'm owing them like $80,000. So it's like, so you go from like bad to very worse, like super quick. So
yeah,
fingers crossed, stay safe, stay distant. Let's try to avoid that.
Yeah, dude. I've been preaching it for a while. I'm like, hey guys, like I know you work for Cirque and all, but you should probably figure out something to do on the side in your meantime, you know?
Side
Because
hustle's
eventually,
key.
yeah, dude, side hustle is key. You gotta like know how to do other things because you could easily get injured and then no more performing or something like that, or COVID.
But I feel like at least if you get injured, you're getting that injury money initially. So it
Depends
gives
on
you,
how bad the injury is.
No, it gives you that time to think. But this was just so abrupt of just like,
Yep.
you're getting your last paycheck and that's it. Like,
Well, it all goes back to
okay.
like save your money too. Like be like
Yeah, save your money
The
for
longer
sure.
you're in this career and the more you can make a career out of it and get better, then it gives you more time to think about other things. And my goal was, I was like Dom. I was saving my money because I wanted to move from the Beatles Love This Show and then kind of float myself for a while until I can find something else. But I think if you're in it long enough and you make a career out of it, you can good enough at it, you can take those savings. And for me, I wanted to, I don't know, buy a bar someday or look into owning something of my own and then kind of transitioning into that. So, but I think that goes with just about any job you do. If you don't really have a savings account or try to plan for a rainy day and situations like this come around.
Yeah, dude.
I think that's a lot about circumstances though too, because like in our early days of performing, we were not saving anything.
No,
we were just trying not to be broke for the next month.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're doing tent circuses and you're living out of caravans, you're doing the hard work, the amusement park shows. Like I know it's easier said than done when you have like, especially when you have a Cirque job. Okay, you can save your money, but some of those ones, especially when you're 21, 22, I get it. It's not that easy to save money, but always keep it in the back of your mind. Still saving $20 a week is better than like being negative 60. So
Yeah, dude.
as you know.
Don't get credit cards unless you know how to use them too.
Absolutely not. Get
know
a
a lot of
secure credit
performers-
card where you have to put down the deposit first, and then it doesn't affect your credit
Yeah.
if you go into debt with it. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
That was one smart thing I did for myself. So I got a credit card. A few of them are not, like two of them, about 5 years ago, and I've never needed credit once in my life. I buy my vehicles used. I don't, take credit to use or get loans or anything. So I've managed to build up my credit over years without having to use it too many times, other than to get an apartment or something like that.
that's
Yeah.
smart. I wish I would have focused more on that like earlier because I was doing the same thing. I was always renting places out cash, or I was on tour living out of hotel rooms for years on end. So when I
Yeah.
got to a place like, oh, you need credit. I was like, wait, for real? I'm not in debt, but that's still not credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, something they don't really teach you in high school.
No.
Maybe
They
that
should
useful
be
stuff.
teaching that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Nah, but you need to learn calc too. Like, no, I don't.
Yeah, dude. Education is super messed up. Like they should be teaching about money and investments from the beginning, and like credit and doing your taxes. Like
Especially
those are
taxes,
huge things.
yeah, because now you pay these people all sorts of money to
And-
do your taxes.
And like no one knows how to actually like write off things and stuff. It's crazy. Like the amount of people that just fucking they just pay. They don't write anything off.
Especially with like the technology we have now with the apps and everything, like
Yeah.
Cam Scanner, like the receipt apps, all of that. Like you can just Evernote, all of that. You can just move it all over, and then it's on a USB drive. You're done. You're saving yourself hundreds of dollars, if
Yeah,
not
dude.
thousands, really. Especially when you own your own company like you. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, opening a business is super beneficial just for writing off things for taxes.
did you just get an LLC? Is that how you started that? And then
So my footwear company's an LLC.
gotcha.
The other ones, no, there's just sole proprietorship. I mean, I diversify myself. I have a YouTube channel, a footwear company, and a stunt show, and I can literally write off anything. Like I can write off my haircut if I wanted to, or like every time I go to buy clothes, if they're for shows or something, or all the stuff that I have in my backyard. Like
No, man. Yeah, I wrote off my computer, my drones, all of that. Like, oh, I need it for my demos for acrobatics. And
Yeah,
then when
dude.
the tax person look at that, they get confused. So
yeah, I actually haven't paid taxes for a few
I mean,
years
I
because I write
absolutely
everything
need
off.
that tax lady. Sorry,
Yeah.
in case you're listening.
Yeah, dude. But if you're like a W-2 worker or something, you just have to pay the taxes right up front and then hope
Right.
for it later. But you can still write things off, though.
Oh, for sure, like work clothes, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, that's the beneficial thing about having a business is tax write-offs and stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah. Have you guys started any kind of business or anything before?
Not exactly, but I'm still working on the drone thing though. So I'm hoping to get
That
that
could be a
up and
business.
running. So with the preschool program with my brother, filming the inside and outside, trying
Yeah.
to work on that. So that's my new side hustle prospect at the moment. So
Yeah.
because I got my 107, got the license, so legal to fly. So might as well try to make some money off it.
There you go. Yeah, it could,
Yeah.
like photography, videography could
Yeah,
be.
exactly.
It's a great side hustle Because the camera is like,
and I love doing drone stuff. So
bucks.
it's just like acrobatics. I love that almost just as much. Like,
yeah,
it's that nerdy side of me. It's like playing a video game in real life. So
yeah, definitely.
And you can be useful to someone else. So
yeah, I probably made more money with my camera than anything else too.
I feel that.
Maybe probably performing a little bit more, but camera is like close second. Where do you train in Colorado? Like, where would you do Trampall and stuff?
Oh, the gym I'm from is called a Trampoline World, but at the moment they're still shut down as of all gymnastics gyms and everything. But that's where I came from. And actually, there's quite a few Cirque athletes or artists that came from my home gym in Colorado. It's me, Wes Hatfield, Holland Losi, Michael Hill. So there's quite a few of us that came out of that same gym.
Erica Lentz came from there too.
And Erica Lentz, the star from the Cirque movie. So from Worlds Away, we all come out of that same gym in Colorado Springs. So.
Damn. So what was the first Trampall show that you did?
All right, the first Trampall show.
Were you already doing Trampall before that, or did you learn it on the spot?
All right, it's a funny story. First Trampall show I ever did, I lied to get the job. They're like, "Hey, do you do Trampall?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." And I went to my mentor, Super Dave, in Colorado Springs. Like, "Hey, Dave," because I know we always had a Trampall. I just didn't really. I like messed with it a couple times. Like, "You want to teach me how to do Trampall?" Because he actually offered me the job through the other company. So we trained for about 5 days, and then I was on a plane to the Philippines to go perform the contract was initially for 14 months.
Oh, man.
But I was like totally above my head, but I was a pretty solid trampolinist. I was like, I can fake this till I make it, and that's exactly what happened. So we only performed for like 4 months because they forgot about the rainy season, like monsoon season in the Philippines, because it was kind of like outside with just like a barely a tent show. So we ended up leaving after that, but that's how I really got my foot in the water when it come to Trampall. So I was just like, no, I could do this. Just like overly confident 18-year-old, but we figure it out.
That's like my motto of my life is say yes to everything and figure it out later.
Oh yeah, I was like, no, I could totally do this. I mean, I don't recommend this for every job, but like if you're comfortable as an acrobat, I have no regrets now. I'm glad I did that, but
yeah, I've lied to get a lot of jobs. Like my first photography job was through Razor, and they're like, "Hey, can you do the photography too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." Hey, I asked my friend Chris, like, "Hey, Chris, can you teach me photography this week? I got a job."
I mean, we all get into the industry in different ways. I mean, you have a pretty interesting story how you step foot. So,
oh, that's right.
Like yours is pretty crazy. We really think about it. I love this story. You even got a tattoo about it. So
I do have a tattoo of that. I got that for my 5-year anniversary. So I was doing college gymnastics out in Seattle, Washington. I was competing for the University of Washington men's gymnastics team, which is a club team. And if some people don't know, NCAA is where the college funds the athletics, and you train on the school campus. You go to that school. With club teams, we're basically affiliated with these colleges, but we're not given any money or supported by them.
But do you go to that university, though? Is that part of the thing that you have to attend that university, or are you just part of their club team?
You're part of their club team, but you do have to be in college to compete for them.
Okay,
so
that makes sense. Yeah.
Funny, I was competing for University of Washington, but I was actually going to North Seattle Community College just so I was enrolled in some sort of college.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
Like, it looks like you went there. So
I did. I did
with it. Yeah.
3 years of all around for University of Washington, and I was a decent gymnast, but I was in college gymnastics to fund my way through college, and I was in college so I could compete in gymnastics, and they sort of just canceled each other out. So when I was 21, I finished my 3rd year, and I dropped out, and I did like 2.5 years at a community college, and I had more credits than I needed to graduate with an associate's. I just never took a math class, so I never got a degree, and I just took off. I left. I came home, and I was kind of trying to find something new to do with my life, and that was when my friends told me about circus, specifically in Las Vegas, where they do a lot of the shows here. And my first thought was, oh, lions and tigers. No, I don't ever want to do that, ever.
Yeah, dude.
Little did I know I was so wrong about it. So I did an audition in 2011 for Cirque. It was in September, and there's a documentary called, it's called 16 by 9, making it into a Cirque show. I think it's a YouTube video. It's 45 minutes long, and I'm on that documentary for the acrobatics tryout. So I did that tryout, and I came back home, and I was buying weed from this guy in town, right? That's how the story
It's legal
started.
now. We can talk about
weed.
it's legal. We can talk about it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Washington was one of the first legal states. We were just a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
so
and Colorado, shout out.
So my weed dealer at the time was this guy named Nino, and he was kind of a rich son of these ranchers who lived around town, and they did a lot of horse shows and stuff like that. And he would go out as a rodeo clown and mess around and tumble and stuff like that. So I met him. I talked to him about being a gymnast and trying to make it into the circus. And he was like, you should come with me and be a rodeo clown. That'd be a lot of fun. And I was like, no, that doesn't sound fun at all. So
Yeah.
Bro, you're going to get ran over by some bulls? No.
2 joints later, he had me convinced.
Wow. It doesn't take much when you're young and dumb, does it?
Yeah, and he was late 20s. I was 21 at the time. I ended up bringing him into, because my uncle owns a gymnastics facility, which is where I grew up. I brought him into my gym, and I taught him how to pitch me into back folds and back tucks, and I taught him how to tumble a little bit, and we actually created an act together. So we would drive to this small town called Sunnyside, where there was like, I don't know, less than 10,000 people.
Did you say Sunnyside in Washington? Like, it's
Sunnyside
never
in
sunny in Washington.
Yes, it is. On one side of the state, anyways.
Oh, okay, got you. That side, my bad. Sorry.
So we drove to a small town called Sunnyside. It was about an hour away, and he would just roll joints the entire way. Not while driving, obviously. I mean, we pre-rolled those. So we'd smoke a lot of weed. We'd
So responsible.
Terrible. I mean, 21 and dumb. Okay, so don't do this at home is what I'm saying. So he would take me to these rodeo clown events, and they were in an old abandoned Kmart. They took Kmart and they made part of it into a corral, part of it into a stage where they'd have like live music, part of it was like couches in a lounge, and then they had like a bar area where you could buy drinks. And I don't know how they set this all up, but I get there and no one speaks English. Everyone smells like tequila, and I'm going to go tumble on some dirt in between. So I meet the owner of this whole shenanigan, and he's like, here's $50 for tonight. And that was as much as I got paid. And then he would say, don't get hurt. I don't have insurance, obviously. So I got $50 plus I would juggle for the kids there, because I just learned how to do 3-ball juggle, and I would get tips from the parents and stuff. So what we would do as the rodeo clowns, there was me and my friend, and we had one other guy who joined us occasionally. We did this like 4 or 5 times for $50 a night, and I didn't have to pay any money for gas or anything. So I mean, 21, I was like, oh, $50, that's great. We would every time that the bulls would go back in their corral, we would come out and we would tumble, and they would play some music for us. So I would be doing like round up, back handspring, back fulls in the sand. I would be standing on top of the rails and doing backflips, and him and I would do an act where he'd flip me, and we did this maybe like 5 times or so throughout the night, in between the bulls came in and out, and I got $50 a night. What was cool about this experience, though, is being from competitive gymnastics, we're taught to block the crowd out and focus on our tricks, and there really is no like I don't know, you're not really selling yourself to the audience. You're not being a performer, you're being a professional athlete.
Yep.
Well, not professional. I wasn't getting paid.
Amateur.
But yeah, you're being a performer or an athlete in the sense you're competing. You're not there to entertain the crowd. So when I got there and I started doing these shows, I was just sort of having fun with it as something to do on the weekends. And I remember that feeling of people standing up and clapping for me, or me doing a flip in front of them, and how good that made me feel that I could entertain people like that. And I just didn't know that I could do that even as a career at that point. And it gave me this whole sort of new purpose. Like, wow, I could really do this for a while. I really like this. And, actually playing to the crowd is something I really like.
Yep.
And I did this, 4 or 5 times for $50 a night. I almost got hit by a couple of bulls. I survived every time. I never got hurt. And then shortly after, I picked up my first circus contract. But yeah, my first time I got paid to do acrobatics, I was a rodeo clown, and I was the only one who spoke English other than the guy with me
I only have
in the
one
entire
question.
place.
Sam, I got one question.
What?
How many times did you put your hand in some poop while doing this with those bunch of bulls?
Never. I definitely stepped in it a couple of times.
Because I've done traditional circus where we're like rolling the Trampall through the dirt, and I'm definitely stepping in mad horse poop.
Ooh.
And then trying to level off. And like the clown's going on as you're setting up the tramps in the wall, and you're trying to figure out how you can level this off in the dark. And you only have 2 minutes to set it up, and you're moving cities every day. This was a show we were doing in Finland. We did 110 cities in 6 months.
Damn.
And then we're doing a tramp wall on wheels through the dirt after an horse act.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
trying to shim the tramps to make it level and block it off. And then making sure the wall just like it's on wheels, so it's like it is what it is. You don't have time to shim that. So sometimes it's a little bit off, and sometimes like the shims would shift because you're like on dirt, and you don't know if you're in a hole, so the shims could shift. So I've had a couple like very scary shows where you don't know how level it is, or when the shim shifts, the tramp is very off level, and then it's your solos. You're like, oh, my pullover might go any direction. You have no idea. So I think it's like those kind of situations you can never prepare for in acrobatics. So it's like Cirque is so nice because they have technicians. Everyone sets it up for you. These smaller shows, you never know, especially when like you're not on a stable stage. So
and stuff like that where things could go either way. I think it's a good example of sometimes you have to surrender in order to win, and that means like surrender yourself to a new experience in life to hopefully get something out of it. I really didn't want to go through this.
Yeah, you got to be willing to just accept whatever challenge it is. Like, this is the situation, just go with it.
Absolutely.
Try not to be an asshole, because that's the main thing that will get you fired in this industry. So
yeah, definitely don't be a diva. Like 2 years ago, I was doing a circus show. And they didn't tell us until like we got on the tour, and they're like, "Oh, there's an adult show," and I was like, "Oh,
like
cool."
Topless.
Yeah, like topless, and we're like, "Oh yeah, yeah."
That sounds like a good bonus.
Somebody's about to act a fool.
We're like, "Oh yeah, I guess we'll take our shirts off or something." And after the first,
I saw that video. Y'all doing the little strip tease and some thongs,
dude. Yeah. So after the
didn't
first
you eat
week,
it in that?
Yep.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. After the first week, they're like, "Hey, can you guys adultify your show a little bit more? Like we just need a little."
That was like a small
like
tent show, right?
I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll go get Speedos. And
y'all
then
got straight man thongs. I saw the video.
Yeah, bro. Well, I got to Walmart and it was like, damn, Speedos are $40 each.
Oh, so that's why it came down to you being cheap. All right.
And then it was like, but there's this pack of 3 man thongs for $5. Dude. And I was with Dylan and Max. I was like, dude, sorry guys, we're going with the man thongs. Like, because I didn't want to buy expensive Speedos, and they're like, actually we didn't like the idea.
I mean, I've been in some pretty funny costumes. Don't get me wrong. I've done Speedos, but never a man thong on stage.
Yeah.
So props to you.
But it was funny though, because we would do the normal Trampall act,
and then the striptease version.
Yeah, so it would
and
go.
Now, welcome to the
Max
stage.
would
Tanner
land.
Markley.
Boom, lights turn off, and then because we were towards the end of the show, and like throughout the beginning of the show, like girls were topless left and right the whole time, and then the girl, like, it would go black, Trampall act ends, and then you're like, hey, you guys didn't think we were just gonna show you naked chicks, right?
It was rhymes with chicks. Oh no, don't do it. Yeah, nobody want to see that.
Okay, so,
maybe some people do, but not.
Yeah, they. So then Space Jam would come on, and we go, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and then y'all ready for this? And then boom, the lights come on, and we're just like pretty much naked doing Trampall. It was only like 45 seconds, but it was hilarious, dude.
Oh, that's awesome,
dude.
Sounds like a lot of fun though, for
dude,
sure.
I've never heard a crowd roar like that though. Like the reaction that they would get, because they would not expect a bunch of dudes pretty much naked
but if
doing
you guys
crazy
have like
shit.
Jumpsuits that just have like the rip off buttons, and that's how you came out,
dude,
imagine that reaction. Like,
so should we talk about like most embarrassing costume that you've ever had, and like all the costumes you had? Because I've had some pretty bad ones.
Bro, mine's so bad I don't even want to talk about it. I'll go there. That's fine.
Most embarrassing costume other than my man thong was probably like me and a mouse doing a
that's not that
scooter.
Bad.
It wasn't that bad. What was yours?
Bro, mine was that bad. I told Sam I didn't want to bring this up when we did this podcast, but here we are, so it doesn't matter. He brought it up anyway. So yeah, I was first doing the dive shows. I used to do high diving, so yeah, like the 80 feet into the tiny, sketchy 10-foot pool. That's how I started doing shows, really, was through that first, before I got into Trampall. And yeah, so they were going to do a pirate-themed show. I was working for Bill Brown Entertainment, and they decided, because there was always a monkey in the show, and it had this like tight brown like monkey costume with the ears and the whole thing. And they're like, "Oh, Dom, you'd be a good monkey." I'm like, "No shit." So wait, I got to be a black guy in a monkey suit.
Oh God!
I couldn't post this on Facebook. All my friends are gonna think I sold out. Yeah, like that's exactly what I did for like 6 months. Because I was like, that's because when you start doing performing and you get a taste of it, you're willing to do anything to not have a normal job. I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm about to jump in this monkey costume. And I was lighting myself on fire every day, doing fire dives, jumping from 80 feet. Listening to people say "Go monkey go," getting all sorts of racist heckles like in the Iowa State Fair. Some guys like yelled some racist shit to me afterwards. Like, yeah, that was by far the worst thing I've ever had to do. So any costume after that, I'm down. Doesn't matter. Speedo, tight orange thing, like leopard print, pink, don't care. Just anything but that.
Dude, that was but,
back in 2010, that was a vibe. So anything to get that money and not have to work at Panera Bread again. So,
dude, I was the Easter Bunny once on Easter. I just
That's
showed
lit.
up at random houses in an Easter Bunny suit.
I just hope you didn't show the kids your eggs.
Dude, it was so awkward. Dude, kids would just squirt me with squirt guns and throw shit at me the whole time I was there. It was like torture. It was bad.
I mean, I guess I've like never been a
Super
clown
awkward.
for kids parties or nothing. Like had a juggle or something. I think
When
that's like the lowest of low. But
yeah.
then again, no shame. Do you?
Yeah.
I think your guys are better than mine. I did a Fetish and Fantasy ball in 2012. It was for Chris Purdy. And Fetish and Fantasy is this big sort of rave party here in Vegas in October.
Did you have to wear a gimp suit?
No.
With a little rubber ball in your mouth?
That would have been, yeah, not preferable. But they lost our costumes apparently. So they gave us, it looked like ballerina. Yes, please. So they gave us like ballerina outfits, right? That were really low on the chest, and they were all skin tight, and they were white, and they basically took like spray art and did like abs on us.
Oh,
and, like,
I saw that
tits.
costume. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
That was a beautiful costume.
Oh my God.
That was also pretty
It
fucking
was
awful.
skin
Yeah.
tight, just like, and so awkward to wear during Trampall, and your whole back is exposed because it's just like a big U at
So you're
the
just
back.
getting that waffle tore
And
up on your back.
every time we came back into our dressing room, we're working with all these beautiful women. Not a single of them talked to me. Not a single one. And then there's this big guy.
Oh, Sam.
We had this big guy doing an act on stage. He was like 400 and some pounds plus, and he would get up like a baby on stage and do some funny stuff. And he just kept asking me to sit on his face. So that was how the rest of that gig went.
Oh my
He
God.
kept trying to offer
I
me
didn't
money.
know that.
Dave Locke was
He
there.
offered
and
you money?
Dave Locke was like, "Yo, take it, man." He offered you $50 to sit on his face, and I'm like, "I'm not doing that."
Oh my God.
While sitting
Good
there
for
in
you,
this
Sam.
skin tight outfit with painted
I know
on
that's back when you were broke too, so good for you
know,
for
that's
like
right.
like there's
I
certain
wasn't that
limits.
broke.
I'm not that broke. No.
So I raised it to 100 and I sat on his ass.
Oh,
no,
it's on camera. He said it.
Did not do
You gotta
that.
say no first, so you get the high
Hey,
bid.
The
Hey,
power
Dave.
of no.
I'm gonna have to talk to Dave. I need to make sure this didn't actually happen. So
It did
I
not.
got some
Stories
work.
not line up.
Dave remembers it
correctly.
because he thought it was fucking hilarious, and
Of
I
course
didn't.
so. Right.
Dude.
Oh no.
What, have you done any other crazy fucking costumes other than that?
Oh yeah, I've had some terrible ones. Like I did a show in China, also the same company. But yeah, we had like these. It's hard to describe the costume. I wish I had a picture to pull up because like this is the best accurate way to describe it. So it was like, see like the diving leotards that they normally have for like any show they have. It's like from the ankle all the way up. This one started at like mid thigh, so it's already pretty gay. And then like, and it's like all white, but it has like checker print on one side and then like rainbow on the other side, and it even had like a hat.
Oh my God.
And then the whole show we're wearing like blue and pink Speedos before that. And then we changed it to this for like the clown dives. So I was like,
Jesus.
man, and we're in like a bootleg Disneyland too in the middle of nowhere, China. Like we're the only foreigners they'd ever seen. So for them, like we're just like a bunch of aliens jumping out there. They're like, oh yeah, look at them go.
Oh my
What?
God.
Oh man, I gotta pull up the footage for you sometime to show you. But it was also
Is it on
like it's
YouTube?
like no, it's definitely not on YouTube.
Oh damn it.
I like no, but yeah, it was terrible.
Our Brazil costumes were pretty bad. The second.
Oh, you
round.
mean for Carnival?
Yeah.
That was also that's another topic though. We definitely touched though. It was like when we did Carnival, we were working for Catwall, and then we got an opportunity to go perform in Carnival, the largest parade in the world.
Damn.
And we were super stoked, except for when our boss had asked us if we'd wanted to go, and he's like, "All right, man, I got a gig for you guys. Are you guys interested?" And we're like, "Anywhere but Brazil," because we'd already just finished a 9-month tour. And he was like, "Are you sure?" We're like, "He's like, it's Carnival." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. This is gonna be sick." So yeah, we go down to Carnival. We had like a 3.5 week creation.
Yes, something like 3 weeks. Cause
Yeah,
we're
to
like
only
there
do
about a
one
month.
show, but then our costumes were the best part of it, because like the whole concept was really cool. We were doing the double-sided trampoline on a moving float, which would stop so we could perform like in front of the judges for Carnival, because it's a big parade for samba schools, so that represent a neighborhood. So it's a competition between the samba schools that represent each neighborhood, which is backed by the Brazilian mafia, which is ironic because I think it's like all these gangsters going to throw the biggest, gayest parade is awesome.
And to elaborate on that, a lot of people don't know that, Carnival is not just a parade. It's not just a celebration. It's a huge competition. So you have 12 like AA schools and 12 BB schools. And that's for like Rio. That's for all the other big places that they do Carnival.
They have it in different
like Sao Paulo
cities,
and stuff like that. So basically what we did is we shaved down our act to like a minute and a half because you're moving the whole entire way, but each school and the parade that's going through there stops to present their costumes and their dances in front of the judges. There's 4 judges, and then we performed outside before we entered. I think it's a quarter-mile stretch that we go down this big, huge stadium area for Carnival. We perform for the crowd, which is really cool. People who can't pay to get in Carnival, we perform for them. And then every time we stopped for that minute and a half, we would perform for the judges, and there was 4 judges that decided not only on our act, but on the costumes of the school and stuff like that. So
and you can actually pull this up on YouTube if you look up Catwalk Acrobats Carnival. That should come up for Kayla Gay's channel. So
yeah, and that was cool just to understand that it's not just a big celebration, that it's actually a huge competition with a lot of money behind it. And that was where we were talking about before, like the biggest show we've ever done or the most people we've ever performed for was Carnival at about 90,000 in that stadium.
They said 160,000 people total, and then like 40
Carnival?
million worldwide.
Carnival, like carnival?
Not with the A though instead of the I on the second one. Carnival.
Carnival.
Yeah, say it with an accent. That'll show you how to spell it.
Carnival.
Trying to say it phonetically.
Is any of this it?
No, go to YouTube though. Yeah, try that one.
This
first one? No, the first one. Yeah.
I'm in the worst spot for this.
No, the first one. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh
yeah.
I need a TV in front of me. Like, I know what you're talking about.
I can like hold a mirror out for you.
That was out of the budget.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Is
That's
this
the
it?
video. Yeah, that's.
That's it for sure.
Kayla, if you skip to somewhere near the end, you'll see us perform.
Because this is just like our experience through like what we went through, like the creation of it. Like we had ballerinas in the front. So like the concept for the act was the trampolines were pianos, and we were and then we were the notes. So they had identical twin brothers on either side of the trampolines and chairs, pretending to play us. Yep, like we're the notes. So either way, like each side, because it's in a velodrome, and you can see there's people on either side, so they get the view of like the same thing. Yeah. The topic was how we got there was costumes, and these costumes were ridiculous. They're like these just tight.
They were morph suits.
They were morph suits, but the face cut out. But then they had these LED lights that just did not work.
They didn't. Yeah, I don't know if they even put the lights on or did they?
No, we had them. Yeah, no, they worked. They technically worked. There's these gigantic LED lights, but like
that's right.
from like Costco. And they were like flying off during the whole act.
We look like people who should be on a green screen for a video game right now.
Exactly.
That's all I can think. But the funny part was like we all started with like the first costume was made with like someone made it really well and like took the time to put all the different accessories on. And the last costume, it's like they just sprayed glue all over it and threw shit at it. Like the costumes degraded by what order they were made in. And then on top of that, some of us cut our costumes off in the very beginning of this, because we had a rainstorm for like an hour before the show. And on a plexiglass wall, that's impossible to perform no matter how much you dry it.
No, me and you were stuck inside that wall for 4 hours before this happened. And we actually changed the entire act to do it without wall. Because it was raining that much. Oh. And a plexiglass wall with any kind of shoes, it doesn't matter. And we managed to get some kind of grip tape on there. And literally the last 30 seconds, we decided we're doing the original act.
Yeah, it stopped raining.
It was so stressful.
Dude,
and we had to do it like 4 times back to back. And like the lights are flying off. I'm catching them. Like it was insane. But by far one of the coolest experiences like we've ever been through. I can say for myself. Like,
we're rolling in this wall, right? And we have shades that go up around like I don't know.
It's like a curtain. Yeah. It's like a curtain to
and
hide the wall.
We sit there and like someone bangs or yells at us, and then they drop the curtains, and then we do our
music
act,
starts, so we start the act,
and then they drop the curtains back up. Yeah. So you're just waiting in the wall, like you don't quite know when your next performance is gonna be, but it's coming up. And as soon as they start that music, if you're late, you can't catch up at all. And there were 6 of us on that wall. You had a lot of people, but that was
6 or 7.
Yeah, I think 7 of us because we had 2 girls.
2 girls. Yeah.
But we got to where we had the float built because they took a big truck and they built a wall on top of it, and then they had the 2 trampoline frames that went out to the side, and they built 4 pillars on each side so that when we stopped in our spot, guys got out and they had a hand winch, and they would do this, and then they would put the platform down so they could stabilize it. But where we were training at was where they were building all the floats for all the different schools in Carnival. So we stayed at this big building. There was a bunch of warehouses for like airplanes, but they stored floats in there. Ooh. So as they were building ours and we were training on it, we got to look at all the other incredible floats that they were building for Carnival,
which is super cool to get that close.
Gigantic. Yeah. I mean, we're talking the size of a house for some of these. They're huge.
But for me, my favorite part of the whole thing was at the very end, after we just finished our last like performance of the act, as we're rolling down, we look back because like you can still see like we're underneath that curtain, but you look behind us and there's a gigantic float and it's full of all topless women.
Oh, that's right.
And that's all. I was like, guys, come check this out. I was like, we've made it. No, this is Carnival. You just look behind you, there's just like hundreds of gorgeous topless women. And you're doing, you just finished your Trampall act. Then we're going on Brazilian TV to get interviewed, where there's like 40 million people viewing it.
I forgot about that.
And then they go to like offer me the microphone because they think I look Brazilian. And I'm just like, I don't speak Portuguese. Talk to that guy. But you look, he's like, are you sure you look Brazilian? I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm American. Last time I checked, so.
We tried learning some of the language. There's only so much you can do in the time there, and your favorite phrase becomes "não fala português."
Yeah, right. I don't speak Portuguese.
Dude. But yeah, shout out to every Brazilian woman in the world. They're beautiful.
Like look at you still trying.
Spending all of us out a year out there. I don't know. It's just something in the water. Gorgeous.
I think my audience is like 1% Brazilian, so you might get lucky.
Oh, I would, yeah.
Tudo bem, meninas?
Yeah. I remember I think something in Portuguese. What was that? Quero fazer pedido misto quente e cerveja também. It's just like, I want 1 hot sandwich and a beer, please.
It's like what I remember in Chinese. It's like, I need 1 cold beer. That's all you need to know, right?
Pretty much everywhere you go, you learn like a phrase here and there, right, of the things you know.
Well, especially on OVO, I learned a lot of useless Russian because it's mostly Russian there, so.
Dude, so where were you guys mostly performing?
For OVO?
Yeah, just everywhere?
No, we did a big tour. Like when I first joined the show, we were just starting the Euro tour, so I joined them in Switzerland. So we did like most of Western Europe for the most part, and then we did a Russia tour, a little bit more in Europe. We did UK, Ireland, and then South America. So I went a lot of places with OVO. So I was very happy to be on that tour. Especially since I missed Brazil because I was out for 5 months due to a bad foot injury. So that's not fun thing about performing. It's always coming back from those crazy injuries. But when there's a goal inside, it's easy. So I just feel bad for these performers that got injured before COVID. So now we had a guy who was about to come back in July.
Ooh.
And then he was literally just about to come back, and then COVID hit. So they kicked him out of headquarters. He was in Montreal doing recovery. They sent him home. So he'd been on injury pay, which is like pretty much half. Yeah. By the time taxes and everything are taken out, and then getting sent home, then nothing. So he's got. By the time if we come back, it'll probably be almost like 2 years since he's been on the wall.
Dude, that's
because he ruptures his Achilles, so it was like 8-month injury. So,
woo, rupturing an Achilles, that's a long one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every time I fall now, I'm like, is my ACL okay?
Did you have a problem with your ACL before? Or
no.
You're just afraid of snapping it.
I've just heard so many bad injuries.
Achilles or ACL?
Yeah.
Either one, they're both.
Achilles is bad too, but ACL is just like I think that's the worst one because it's so long.
I mean, we saw it happen with Julian. So,
dude, I know we talked about it on the podcast for like an hour, dude.
Yeah, I watched that
one.
So
crazy.
He just got the okay that his
he's good now.
Good now. Good for him, man. That's been 2 years of battle for him.
Mm-hmm. So, whoo, that's crazy.
Good for that guy though. One of the best in the game.
I know, dude.
Shout out Julian Kalari though.
Yeah. Sure. Dude, that's such a crazy story because he even said he shouldn't have got surgery, but it's like, yeah, I don't know.
No, it's weird how doctors
can
doctors can fuck you up sometimes because that's what happened with my foot too. Like I got a cortisone injection, but it was the wrong type of cortisone, so that ended up making my foot just weaker. But I didn't feel it, so which actually caused me to rupture the tendon in my foot that they say you have a 2% chance of doing, which took me out for 5 months.
Oh my god!
So it's like that. Yeah, the doc. Make sure you have the right doctors.
Yeah, dude.
But it's not always in your control. So
I've never had enough knowledge of the medical industry to debate a doctor on anything.
Yeah,
right.
no,
Like, yeah, like
whatever they
I don't
say.
know. It's like, I'm just gonna trust that you went to the right school and you know what you're doing.
I've never had
Yeah.
a doctor tell me anything and me go, I don't think that's right. I've been like, oh, okay, cool.
No,
Did you
Jesus, like
pay
I
for
don't want to
this?
be here anyway. So
Yeah,
just
that's
tell
true.
me what I need to do to get out.
Yeah.
I've been lucky. I've escaped a lot of like bad injuries, but I did snap my bicep in 2014.
What about that last one though?
Which one? What are you talking about?
With the doors.
Oh,
What doors?
I almost lost a testicle.
This
in
is
the
a
Beatles Love
fantastic
Show.
story.
Yeah, I had a.
If you
I
want to
had
bring
a-
up my first costume, we're gonna talk about.
I snapped my bicep in 2014. It's curled up on a little ball here now, and I've been fine since. And then I had a testicular contusion.
It's like a
just
concussion
last
of
year.
your balls.
Yeah, so I found this out. A concussion is when you hit your head hard enough for your brain to hit
bleed,
the
right?
inside of your skull, right? For your
Yeah,
brain to actually bounce. A contusion is where you hit anywhere else in your body other than your head hard enough to cause some sort of internal damage or inflammation. In the beginning of 2019, I think it was like January, like 2 weeks into January.
P.S. This is my favorite story ever. I love this. I'm a back off now.
That door is named after me for sure. So
Softy's balls.
I got hit so hard in the balls like in 2019 that I was hemorrhaging, so I was pissing blood, and I had to go to the hospital. I had to go to the ER.
God damn.
So at the Beatles Love Show, of course, we have a van in the middle of the stage for our act.
Yep.
And this van on each side has two doors that are hooked to magnets. There's no latch or handle or anything, and this is made so we can come in and out of the van easily through the act. In the very beginning, specifically, people kick open the doors. We pop out for the beginning. However, on top of the van, you have a mat, and on each side of the mat, the doors actually stick up a little bit. So if you're standing on top of the van, you can take your foot and you can basically hit the top of the door and push it out. And because of this, it gets kind of dangerous. If you come in for a landing to the top of the van and show and you step backwards, you can essentially kick these doors open sideways, and there's nothing to stop that. So I was in shows, and I was jumping to the van, and I was supposed to do a Rudy, and I was coming in really hot with a lot of speed and a lot of direction, so I did a Branny. I landed on top of the van, and we had the van up there? Yeah. So right here, these doors, they kind of kick up towards the top of the van a little bit, and you can easily just kick them open. So that line right there, it's covered in foam, but it's separate from the top of the van. The top of the van does not extend over the doors. The doors actually kick up a little bit. So like I said, like if you have the top of the van is right here, the doors actually are on the side of it a little bit. So that's why you can kick them open really easy.
Didn't know that.
So I was doing a Brandy to the top.
Neither did he until this.
And I had a lot of speed, and you have a guy spotting you up there, but sometimes one, if not two. So there's only so much he could do to slow me down. He put a hand behind my back, and I was moving backwards with so much force that he couldn't really do much. And in that case, you just jump off the van about 5-6 feet down to your feet. You stop, and then you kind of find your way through the act. But when I didn't really jump, I scooted my feet backwards. And so the back of my heel kicked open the door. And I had absolutely zero idea that this door was open. My sight line is looking across in front of me, and I jump backwards. I'm expecting to put my hands on the top of the bus and sort of stop myself. I had no idea that this door had kicked open perfectly 90 degrees. So I came down on it from about 3 feet up with a good hop and just straight to my balls. Straight to my balls in first show.
The run off stage.
Thousands of people around me.
No!
And I hit, and I didn't really know what I hit at first. It was confusing because I didn't know the door was, you were expecting the door not to be open.
You thought you like broke your gooch?
And then your legs, have nothing to really kick off of, so you're just sort of bicycling on top of a door like a popsicle.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going on, and it felt like I was there forever. But I was balancing on top of the door.
Think about time going way too slow.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I stuck here? No, God help me.
So much adrenaline going through me that I didn't really know what was going on. I got off the door, and it was like as soon as I hit the ground, all that pain just sort of condensed in my balls. So I took off stage like a newborn deer, basically, just kind of hopping and getting to off stage as quick as I can, because unless an acrobat is either knocked unconscious or dead, he's going to have enough reserves to get off stage when injured pretty much most of the time. I've seen people with broken legs just crawl their way off stage because that's the last place you want to be when you're hurt.
So, I've been there a couple times. You were there for one of them for me too.
Yeah, you will crawl off stage. All that adrenaline going through you.
I dislocated my ankle in the middle of a show because I messed up a pullover and hit the wall, and Sam gave me all of his double bounce.
Yep.
Because I fall back in. It was in Japan at Universal Studios. And I bounced up, and I could feel it in the air that my ankle is just flopping like a flag. Oh. And I'm just like looking, like I'm about to hit the frame, blocked it with my face, but luckily we had 6 windows, so I like crawled inside the bottom ones. And then the act finishes, and like there's a big dome around the wall, so it closes, and the whole stage rotated. And so we're getting rotated back, and I'm just punching the floor. And I'm like, oh my God, this hurts so much. And everyone's like, Dom, calm down.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, Sam was like, we know you messed up. But like, then Cody was like, what if he's actually hurt?
Yep.
And then like, they finally like climb down and they look, and I can see my foot is pointing back at me with my toes looking at my face. And then like, they're getting me on the stretcher and all this. They're about to take me out. And then the Japanese they're like, oh no, we need to cover him up so the people can't see. But they cover my whole body on the stretcher like I'm dead. Like I'm in a body bag. God. And like we're like going out, and there's like a parade of people, like they're lined up to watch us leave every time too, because we're like waving to them. So I like threw off the cover and was like, woo, I'm not dead yet.
Oh my God.
The injuries in show are always fun. So,
yeah, I mean, you recovered quick from that, but you took a lot of time. Like
they said 6 months. I was back jumping again in 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not smart. I'm still a
for
little bit
sure
struggling from that, but do what you got to do when you're broke. So.
Oh, absolutely. I got like when my contusion happened, one of my testicles swelled up like twice the size of the other, but I managed to be okay.
What up, Biggie Smalls?
But I got no joke. I got actual measurements of my balls, and I sent them to my team. Whenever are you gonna get a centimeter by centimeter measurement of your own testicles and have the chance to send a medical record of that to somebody else? But yeah, I was back in 2 weeks, luckily, and like even my my urologist, I had to go get my urine checked to make sure I was okay and I still wasn't hemorrhaging, and he told me I was really lucky to have both of my testicles. And I remember hearing that, and at the floor I just kind of laughed, but then I looked up and he was so dead serious with no slight grin on his face. He's like, no, you're really lucky to still have them both. And I was
bro,
like,
you almost cool. Tom Greened yourself,
Can I
bro?
go home now? But yeah, my recovery, I was out of shows for 2 weeks. I was pretty lucky. But yeah, you were out for the rest of Japan and a little while.
I've had a few bad ones. I think my most painful one, though, even besides Japan, was I broke my sternum doing a high dive. That was by far the worst thing ever.
Did you belly flop or?
No, I was doing a Coca-Cola gainer, and it was like my 3rd time throwing it, and then we had a lot of heavy headwind, and I just overthrew it because I wanted to get a lot of rotation. It was like from like 85 feet. As I tucked through the 2nd one, I knew I was like way over.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing seat drop from 85 like into the tiny pool, because like when you're in the condensed pool too, the water's harder.
Yeah.
So as I hit the water, my feet, the way they hit first, they shot up into my face, so my chin actually broke my sternum with that motion. Oh, like not complete broke, but it was like multiple hairline fractures and muscle tears. Like that one took me out for like 3 months. Like I couldn't get out of the pool, I couldn't sit up, I couldn't cough, I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
But I've also crashed another high dive too, same thing. Like I did brandy out pike and then over rotated it, but took it straight to my side. That's the one that's actually on my Instagram. So if you guys want to see that, go for it. At Dominic Acro if you want to see me die.
How far back is it? Can I find it?
Oh yeah, I can definitely show you.
Dude, let me pull it up on Instagram.
Yeah, and actually the music on that's gold too. That Jackass music. If you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough. It's a little bit far back, but I can.
It's so true.
I mean, yeah, it's always the bail videos that people like more anyway, so they don't like to see you win.
Yeah, I'm still on. I'm on Not So Acrobats for one video.
Nice. Oh yeah, it's here. So I don't know if you're pulling up on your computer, give you a reference of where to look.
Let's see.
It's that one.
Okay, it's gonna take a second because I forgot my Instagram password.
Dude, that's the worst.
I think I got it actually.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, when you're landing in a tank, I bet you.
But yeah, this one's funny because it was actually my 3rd high dive ever, and I definitely was not ready for this one. I've been like rushing it a bit, and then it was also like 35 mile per hour headwinds just going against you. So I thought I had to throw it way harder than I needed to. But yeah, it's also like my 2nd year of shows or something like that. So I was just like. Yeah. Young, dumb, all balls, just like, no, I can do it.
That's how you are at the beginning,
I got this.
For sure.
Like, no, I did not got this.
How far is it?
Keep going.
Oh man.
No, keep going. I mean, there's some bad falls in between that too. So, but let's not just focus on my crashes.
Dude, even like over-roading just slightly from that height hurts so bad.
Keep going.
Especially
yeah, that's another good one too. That window one there.
Where?
Me wearing the white shirt. That's me going through a window. Windows suck on wall. Yeah.
Dude, I want to see.
All right, we're just gonna watch me fall. Oh no, not that one. No, you clicked on the wrong one.
Oops.
It's the one in the white shirt. Yeah.
Run
right above it. No. Yeah.
This one. Yeah, bails are always the funniest part.
Yeah, no. Windows suck. I wasn't even training this day. I'm wearing like work clothes.
Oops. What the fuck just happened? So for those of you who are just listening, you should watch on YouTube because we're watching Dominic's videos of him falling.
This is on Instagram, yeah.
Straight
through the window.
Dude, I hate hacking windows.
I was super lucky. I was fine. I get my redemption one. I do it another one. But yeah, Marley Webster was like, "Hey Dom, come jump with us." I was like working on fixing something, so I'm wearing like my work clothes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, if you keep going down, you
I
can
don't
see
like
the
the
really
windows
bad
on
one.
Trampall for that reason. Like, dude, it's
there it
kind of
is.
scary.
Yep, right there. So
this one.
This is death.
Okay, hold on.
I like this one.
Nice.
I hated this one because I still live this moment every day.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. And there's one more Trampall fail after it too.
Boom! Oh my god.
This is my first walking front attempt. It looked like I was doing 1 and 3.
Oh! You just missed. Oh, and you stayed there. Oh, you're dead.
Brady
you're
out
dead.
to
Oh!
No, but at that moment, I got super lucky because time slowed down just enough for me to figure out like that I was that far over that I knew I didn't want to go to my back because I didn't want to break my back. So I turned, covered my ear, and took it to my side. So it ended up saving me, actually, because I didn't rupture my eardrum and I didn't break my back. So I took it all to the side, and I was actually fine in a week from that one.
Dude, that's crazy.
But I didn't miss a show because, when you're 20,
yeah,
you're pretty much
made
out of rubber.
To life.
Yeah, so.
Dude, those tank shows are crazy. That's 80 feet?
Yeah, that was like true 80. So yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, the water you're diving into is so like crucial too. Because when I was doing that waterfall show in Canada, dude, it's so soft because the water's like all broken up. It's like half air.
That's great. But then like if you go up to like my second to last video, you can see the ovo fail too. Try and walk and double
all
back
the
with that.
top?
All the way up. Yeah. yeah. Sam screamed. He was watching in the airport and like screamed. Go down one more. Yes, that one. Yeah, I was trying to walk in double backs for the first time. Almost.
Oh my god!
So I'm not gonna show you any good videos of me. Just me eating shit the whole time. Yeah, I was trying my first walking double backs. So like, note to self: always give direction back towards the wall, especially when the wall's curved.
Yeah, dude.
But I end up missing the mats and then landing on the stage, like 10 feet down, and bounced off the stage. But I was totally fine. No, bounced out into the hole.
Into the hole.
Yeah, and I missed all the mats because all the mats are in front of the tramp. I get back up though. Like, oh damn,
dude.
The first one's. I thought I had the first part. It's the second part. But yeah, then the rest is redemption. So then you can actually see me doing something decent. So.
Oh, so you don't always fall?
No, believe it or not, that's why I have a job. All right, wait, used to have a job. We're gonna get back to that job thing. But yeah, it's been nice to have some training time now, though.
You were in the air so long that you screamed, and then you had time to calm down and try to formulate some sort of plan. Then you came down. And
I had already accepted what was happening. I knew where I was going, so that's what's the only good thing about walls this big. It's like you have enough time to figure out when you're gonna die. So.
Dude, that's a crazy wall to jump because it's like you said 6 feet or something away.
I mean, yeah, right. It's like the exact gap is about 6 feet, but where you want to be on the trampoline is about like 8. Yeah,
dude, that's crazy.
But once you finally get the hang of it, though, man, it's a lot of fun. I miss it. I think it's like everyone misses any kind of stage performing right now. We're just like,
yeah, dude. Stages
can I get
are
some of that stage back?
Well, a lot of people don't know too. That wall was originally just a set piece in Dralion for years on tour.
Really?
And all of a sudden, they found a way to put some trampolines up next to it, and
it used to be way more dangerous too because they had platforms,
true.
Not rock climbing grips. So if you miss, you were just going all the way down, and the metal sucks because that's what they stuff in Montreal. It will tear you up.
Woo, that's pretty brutal. You guys want to call it right here?
Yeah, I'm down to wrap.
Yeah, man.
That
was awesome.
Been the longest podcast we've had so far. Thank you guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
setting records out here.
Dominic, where can everyone find you? It's Dominic Acro, right?
At Dominic Acro on Instagram, yeah.
Sweet. And Sam is nowhere to be found on
This is
social
Sam,
media.
no social. He's
This
too
is the
cool for
only
that
where
shit.
you'll
So
see him.
I'm just in real life. If you see me, you
If
see
you need
me,
to talk
I
to
guess.
Sam, just shoot me in a DM. I'll get you in touch.
I have a phone number.
Especially you Brazilian ladies. I'll hook you up with Sam. He's still looking for you.
Yeah,
so.
to all the Brazilians.
All right,
listening, I
Brazilian
miss you.
ladies, if you're listening, just DM me and I'll link you with
we'll
Sam.
get you with Sam. Well, thank you for having us, Tanner. It was
Hey,
dope.
thank you.
Thanks,
That
man.
was
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't.
And check out that off axis. Let's
Yeah,
go.
dude. And comment down below if you watch this whole thing. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for the shoe ad. Yeah, go buy some off-axis ones and some off-axis ninjas. Use the discount code off-axis
And
Tanner.
may we all perform again soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and wear those shoes. Peace.
Right.